Oh my goodness. AD, I see you out there playing in the streets. Oh, I got the funniest story to tell. Yeah. Let's listen. Story time. Lovely. Candle burning. Yes, been investigating. Got trusty old Alexa right here to interrogate and get to look up her skirt. Cigarette. Let me go get Rhonda. There you are. I'm on the hunt for you. Oh, I've got surprise. Yes, I've got surprise. Wait till you see, AD. You're not gonna believe it. Okay, close your eyes. I'll tell you when to open them. Okay, open them. Candles. Tom Shuba! Oh man, hell, the whole gang's here. Where's Miss Shay? Hold on, I got a hat of lettuce I gotta go grab. Yes, don't you think so, AD? I never seen one like it. Isn't she a beauty? $100. Yeah, it's a Columbia Ludwig. $100. Oh, I know it. It's beautiful, AD. I'm so happy. Yeah, I can't wait to learn how to play it. Hold on, I gotta go get my lettuce. Thank God, right? So what's that mean? What's that mean, Bobby? It means I don't have PayPal. That was a fun little song. Dan DeRuyter. Yeah, it's called On the Haunt. It's on my Reverb Nation page. And I will share the link in the comments. Yeah, so the funniest thing happened. Yeah, I'm downstairs, I'm talking to the old lady, right? And I got her on the speakerphone, and I'm eating a bowl of turkey, roast turkey that I heated up in a saucepan with some rice and a lot of the roux from the turkey. So I had turkey soup, and I had turkey on my fingers, and blacked out a couple times, basically, that I was even having a conversation. I'm thinking about so many things, I forgot I was talking to her because I was chewing. You know how you drift off when you're chewing? So I was chewing in a way, and then I had to wipe my left fingers off, but I had something in my hand. I couldn't use my hand, and so I reached over to the last. You know when you've got my lady's got to buy the tissues, so she gets these boxes of tissues, and it's got some kind of aloe and eucalyptus in it. Yeah, they're expensive. I hate using them. So anyway, I pulled one out of the box earlier, and a clump came out, which was the last like three, and they're kind of folded together, and you pull them apart. Well, it was down to the last two, and I reached over in the left hand, and I tried to shake it loose, and it ended up flicking a tail of it into the candle bowl, so it got wax on it. Flame ignited it. So then I pulled it out. It's laying on a table, on a glass tabletop. It's burning. So now I got this fire brewing on my coffee table, and there's the puppy. Trying to figure out what I'm doing. And then I end up trying to put it out with my hand, scorch my fingers, and then I end up knocking it off onto the floor. So now the carpet's on fire. I'm down there with a red snot rag with 3 days worth of snot on it, down there trying to stomp out the flames. I hate to put my glasses on and look at how bad it's melted. I might have to trim the tufts with some scissors to hide it. Oh man. Anyway, playing with fire when nobody's home. Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. Yeah, it was scary for a second. Yeah. I like playing with fire. I don't like getting burned, but the playing with the fire part is very fun. Yes. Anyway, AD, I posted I had this very powerful thing happen on the 15th. Remember the message from God is what I call it, what it is, and I transcribed it as it happened, and I wrote down the time right down to the second if I could. Oh my goodness, there's a stink bug in my house. What's he doing? He's on the new camera holder. Yeah, looking around. Anyway, there was what happened was it was the set of messages and prayer, Song of Zachary on the 15th, given to me. Anybody who's ever read any of my writing, can clearly see it's nothing. It doesn't sound like me at all. I don't know where these words of wisdom came from, but it means that there's very, very powerful. And there's lots of meaning in them. And then the next morning early, like I don't even think I slept that night. I was so supercharged over everything that happened. And I caught Tim Homerhausen. I'm trying to hook up with Lauren, the bank robber. I call him the bank robber because he robbed a couple banks. He had a heroin problem. He's all cleaned up though. But he's a really good guy. He's a very close brother of mine. Anyway, I contacted him early that morning because we talked about the Bible and things a little bit, and we're very close in spirit, and I shared with him some things, and I started off on a conversation to him, and then after that conversation, I had the conversation with you, and because of the content of them, I was forced to share them, and this is the one from Tim. And now keep in mind, the words are given to me, and then there's my struggle to use my own words about whatever's happening. So there's a modeling of words, but the messages remain the same. Yeah, anyway, I want to read it. Directly after receiving the words, I talked to him. This is a complete transcript. You are commanded to read. Read while you prepare for the battles this day. You will receive the voice if you hear the first time. Ears that do not work once will never hear the voice of the heart. The abstraction from the word is to see through the disruption of the word done by man. Only the teacher whom is abstract in thought is the teacher. Discernment is frequency tuned for the song of the heart. The promises are true, and truth is the promise. Go, find the words still wet and drying, then send a pigeon to me. Yeah. So anyway, that was the opening, whatever I was motivated to write for the beginning of this, and these are captions right out of the conversation. Today is the celebration of the end of my suffering and wedding. Today we rejoice together. It has long been time to put away our child's refusal to become teachable, to open their eyes and drink of the word, the chart exacting our garden, the secret garden. The words are there clear for the seeing, and the answer to the riddle is the riddle itself. They laugh, for it is simple as child's play. And then Tim interjects, and he says, in the beginning of our journey is very wide and well defined by sharp edges. It becomes narrower and narrower as we discard debris along the way to cover the sharp edges and leave a smooth, narrow path. The path is wide and the path narrows. And then I go on to say, the games in life are within the word, and within the word are the games, the songs of praise and the riddle seeming too long. The word will travel fast, and almost all will deny hearing with the ears that heard the brothers, sons of destruction. I cannot become destroyed. My battle will be won with the weapon of my choosing. Many fine weapons I have to destroy. Much wrath is within me to become quieted. Much anger stored up far too long. My weapons will never need to become employed, though very much cherished while savoring the relish fermenting. Never will I become moved to the sins as commanded. Never will I need to feel their cooling. My shots will be heard around the world. My fury will become known to all mankind. Man has been gifted, all equal and unequal, the same. Disrupted with the words of the groupings and never to ever regroup. My weapons are as calibrated as my numbers. My weapons follow where I go. My heart holds strings that I pull. The only rope man has is his last. My teachings are true. My teachings are selfless. Humility gardened in toiling the soil of the self. The balance unbalanced, balanced by nature's very essence. It is I who holds the weapon of mass destruction. It is my wrath that needs to be calmed, for my weapons have been gifted from the beginning of the time of man, and no man has ever been denied. Weapons fired for folly, greed, and vanity. My hands hold this weapon always with the word. Man has given no gifts to me, and no more gifts to man will I. Choice always with gluttons, choice always afforded with the cherished of them. For profit is man's pleasure where my gifts of pleasure are returned. My boxes are empty where gifts once were, but how can empty boxes become empty when man was gifted the gift that is joy and the sweetness of sorrow. Go, time rests as time works, and I am the creator of time, the relishing resting unearned by the gluttons, sloths, hoarders of bread, and that surely molds to be waste, that only the tiniest of creatures care to devour. Peasants and children starve of mothers, fathers, and bread, while the fattening coops are now treasured for the fattening of the self and the desires of all whom can never become full, all full and empty, empty of the fuel of the heart, passion, pride, and shame without balance. The balance of the threat that frightens man into hypnosis. And the brothers have hypnotized numbers, numbers that know not their exactification. This is exacted down to my hands that hold the life of all, but even for me you have almost all robbed. And how can I become to the befriending done by the miners when I cannot even become looked upon by the thief? Yes, creating their own weapons, reverse engineering the word for themselves, for profits? Yes, and even though prophets cherished by man become created by hands of men, to be neglected even by the receivers, to spit in the faces of all those unseen. There will be tears in the cries of the masses. There will be clenching teeth even in those without. Tears will be many. Oceans are tears. Tears are oceans. Salt is the decay and the flavor. The very flavor of tears of all who were before and before the after, who were all one, one of many, one of all who were after the before and before the after. Before the after were pillars raised, pillars destroyed and rebuilt. The libraries cannot become to be destroyed. That which is raised can become rebuilt by the hands of the believers. And as the ending of numbers and time are not, the end of man has come. There is no straw for choosing, and there are no choice straw. The choice is the straw, and the straw is the choice and my dictation. Teachers are mine, and man is. Now, man creates woman, and woman creates man, when man and woman are the same, unbalanced, and always unequally yoked. You do? It's powerful, AD. You know, it really is. Where did this all come from? I'm telling you. Are you not wanting to hear it? I have to finish now. I already started. It's like a bag of Lays. Can't just eat one. Oh my goodness. Damn Lays. I swear to God, I had 7 or 8 bags of Lay's potato chips in the kitchen on the counter. My old lady programmed into buying them. Yeah, but did you hear this part? Just now man creates woman and woman creates man when man and woman are the same, unbalanced, and always unequally yoked. The mother is also as the father, and the father is also as the mother. Man is as woman is as man, as I. We are one, we are the same, we are the different. The difference is always cherished. The cherished are all different. The earth is mother, the earth is father. Together, always balanced, apart and together, the same and different. Too many are the labors for few when the few are created labors by the others. Even the rocks are mine creation. Even the rocks are hard when they are hard. Hard are the rocks, but hard rocks can be metals. Man's metal is metal, mending, meddling always. Now even children are poisoned before their becoming. Even the plants are becoming to the becoming end. Man's own understanding has become to teach many but diseased by their cures. Their cures are now found and unfound. Cures curing for living life to their new ending. The unending has an end, and the end is the beginning of the ending's beginning. Losers are the winnings, and the winnings are the loss. The pond of life becomes stagnant, and new life is the pebble tossed. Ripples are the change. The changeling are the ripples and the pebble. The pebble always waits at the bottom, where the bottom of the pond is the top for the pebble. Oh my goodness. Pebbles become to raise waters always. More standing is the removing of weight, crushing the pebble to sand. The pebble is the cherished and uncherished by man. And the choice of the fickle is always made into their wealth, the bread eaten in secret. And the rest of man's neglect is their starvation, earned for their lords. This sounds kind of Emerald Tablets-ish. Yeah. Makes me really think about the Emerald Tablets. Moon is the sun in light. Even the darkness cannot prevent the creatures from their seeing. The light is the cleanser with the flavor of life itself. When the moon goes into darkness, blindness to light destroys life. Life cannot be created eternal as eternal is created. The signs are the creatures and the creatures are the signs. All prayers done by man have been the gift returned. The signs were the gift, and all received and cannot deny. Their ignorance is the new idol unseen, an idol that cannot be seen or touched, and never can be found. Man in the hands that destroy to preserve. Time can become made by man, but man can never create time. Time is always and the forever eternal. Yeah, maybe I did read it to you, AD. I probably did, and together or something. I don't remember. Anyway, yeah. I'm not rich and famous yet, so that means I'm still impotent. Can't do nothing about the landfill except for flap my yap. Let's ask Alexa some things. Alexa, good morning.
Good morning. On this day in 2014, French athlete Renaud Lavenne soared to new heights, beating the 20-year pole vaulting record by just 3/8 of an inch. Now that's what I call raising the bar.
Yeah, just need one of those. Okay. Yeah, I'm not a famous author yet, AD. So, still small money. But, Alexa, how many landfills are in Europe?
Here's something I found on the web. According to reference.com, as of 2015, there are more than 3,000 active landfills in the United States, as well as more than 10,000 old municipal landfill sites that are no longer in use.
I already knew that. Yeah, we have a very serious issue with it. You know, we throw a third of our food right in the trash. A third of the food that gets grown and harvested. A third of it gets thrown away. A third of it. That's a slap in the face of the farmers across the country. You know, it's a lot of work growing some tomatoes and corn and crap. It really is. You put your heart into it, and they hardly give you anything for it. My daughter's actually talking to me. Yeah, we're moving to Wasion. Yeah. Yes, it is a big problem, and that's because the city people have been disconnected with the soil, you know. Little boy goes outside to play, it should be in nature. That's where life begins, with nature. We're throwing wood in the landfill, for instance. Okay, wood. Wood should be considered a gem. You know, trees are precious, and wood, as a woodworker, wood is extremely valuable and useful. There shouldn't be a stick of wood going in the trash. Not a stick. Ask Alexa if she considers scissoring with sin. Alexa, what is scissoring? I didn't know what you're
Here's
talking
something
about.
I found on the web. According to fandom.com, the scissor is a weapon that is put onto your hand, much like the gauntlet.
Much like the gauntlet, huh? What is scissoring with
This
women?
might answer your question. According to
No.
Wikipedia, March is the third month of the year in both the Julian and Gregorian calendars. It is the second of 7 months to have a length of 31 days. In the Northern Hemisphere, the meteorological beginning of spring occurs on the first day of March.
Well, that's great. That's great.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
You were about to tell me about scissoring. I was watching a movie with a couple young ladies in it, and they were scissoring, the guy said. I was wondering if you could tell me what that means. Lights blinking yellow or green. Does that mean you got somebody you're conferencing with? Scissoring. Alexa, explain scissoring.
Scissoring is related to a word with the following definition: cut with or as if with scissors.
I've never heard of scissoring. I've heard of cutting. Oh, well.
This might answer your question. According to Wikipedia, Fight Song is a song recorded by American singer and songwriter Rachel Platten, released as a single by Columbia Records on February 19, 2015. It appears on her extended play of the same name and on her major label debut studio album, and third overall, Wildfire. Platten co-wrote the song with Dave Bassett.
Wow. Can you tell me an interesting history fact about the music business today?
The eagle on the U.S. shield is the Iroquois bald eagle, a symbol of that tribe.
Well, that's good to know. Anthony Polk's out there. Hats
Good
off
to Know
to
is the fourth
Anthony.
studio album by American singer-songwriter JoJo.
JoJo.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Okay. Well, anyway, Tom, did you see my banjo? See the banjo I got? $100. Yeah. It's quite a find. House bells. Might be worth a couple dollars. You never know. So I don't know if you got the memo, Anthony, but I've been doing some investigation. I didn't wave at him. He probably left already because I didn't wave. If you're out there, I've been doing an investigation. It started off on October 8th, and it began with the investigating the Nielsen TV ratings, because it all began with opening a letter that had money in it. And the third paragraph down, they were specifically talking to the children. Yes, and they brag about 50 years of surveys. They work with all the big product companies, all the household names, work directly in conjunction with the TV ratings company, the Media Ratings Council, which is a tumor up in Congress somewhere. Yes, and they don't have any regulations. Well, that's masturbated everybody's minds and forced them to buy Lay's potato chips, for instance. It's stimulated everybody. Kind of like shooting ducks on the water. They've been molesting our minds over generations through the TV and the advertisement and all the propaganda. Yeah, so in the meantime, the citizens are hypnotized, and little do they realize the landfills are about to bust wide open. We got a landfill crisis. Yeah. And I got messages from God. that I can't ignore. Yeah, I gotta go into the ministry now. I'm forced to. So let me beg for a dime. Begging all the time. This guitar sounds out of tune. Okay, I'm done tripping now. That was fun. Yes, I know it sucked, but it felt so good. Yes, it did. And I don't have any blood on. Look, Ma, no bleeds. Oh, yeah. So, guess what I got? Ooh, I bought a 44 caliber ball maker so I can make little tiny ice cubes. Yeah. There's shot glasses. Getting ready for the party. Oh, yeah. Can't wait. Oh. Let's have a cigarette. Look at Tom. Look at my new cigarette case. Isn't it lovely? Yeah. Want one? Yeah. Yeah. It's lovely. Yeah. The lady said I should have a cigarette case. That's what I ended up with. A cigarette case. Great. Guess I'm committed to smoking at least till I lose the case, which probably in 2 weeks. Like a pair of sunglasses. Anyway, somebody out there tell me I'm crazy or something. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I'm gonna go and play with the dog. It's 9:54. Although I do have like 10 or 12 minutes. I'll give the cops that way the cops can bill for a full hour of investigation. I don't want to shortchange him. Might say something funny. You know what? I'm curious, guys. Nielsen is owned by another company now, so Influence Limited. Well, yes, Tom, it is. You see, it was owned by a company called Dutch Publishing Company, which is in the Netherlands. You see, so there's blood associated. Yes, there's blood associated in the foundation. You see, and now it's Elsevier, which coincidentally is the conglomerate. Let's call it the International Library of Congress headquarters, just for the sake of speaking. So all the information goes through this corpus callosum. Yeah, so it's the one side of the brain doing all the handling, and the scientists are all submitting their work, submitting their work, and submitting their work. Well, they only accept it if you get over the paywall. So you have to climb over the paywall. And some guys don't have enough money to climb that high. So that's the first thing, is get over the paywall. Then you get your stuff in. Then they decide if they're going to release the information to the public. So out of all the stuff that goes through them, only 4% gets released. Think about that, Tom. 4% getting released. Hell, they're releasing the germs on your hand after you wash them when you're done taking a crap. Yeah, that 4% that's left on your hands. That's what they're giving society. Yeah, 4% of leftover from crap. Yeah, they're crap. We got to pick it out. And you know what? They got good teeth, so you can't find like a half-chewed peanut to eat. No, it's thin soup they're crapping out. Thin soup. Yeah. We're going to be back in the days of, getting pissed drunk, drinking a piss of nobleman. Back in the old days, the rich people used to hog the mushrooms, the fancy ones, the good ones. Yeah, the soma. So they'd hog these Amanita muscarias, almost hunted them to extinction. And they would get drunk on them, high on them. But the thing is the Amanita muscaria, the muscimol, passes through your system and it comes out in your urine. So you can actually pee into a glass, put your urine in a glass plate and dry it and scrape the dust up and put it inside gel caps and ingest it that way, or just drink the urine. Yeah, it's a lot quicker. Everybody's in a hurry these days. So, yeah, just imagine. I'd save your old beer bottles. Yeah, because a lot of times you can pop the cap right back on it. Bottles of urine after you get high. Yeah, put labels on it. We'll do counterfeit mushroom pee. Ooh, I can see the scandal right now. And then we do a little insider trading, see if we can get, what's her name involved? Oh, the cooking queen. I can't think of her name. She's so famous, I can't think of her name. Yeah. Wow, so you know Julia Roberts, though. Oh, yeah, I just love Julia Roberts. Anyway, somebody say something. Anyway, the thing is Nielsen TV ratings, the MRC, the neuroscience, and the mental masturbation they've done, conditioning and programming, institutionalizing us with all these different little aspects of normalizing the routine use of what they're shoving down our throats. You see, it's all contributed directly to the landfill crisis. Michigan is importing 110 million yards, or 110, what do they say, 110 tons of trash from Canada a year. We've imported 10.1 million yards of trash. 10.1 million yards of trash. Okay, in the middle of the third of the world's fresh water supply. Think about that. Okay, this is serious. They've been attacking America. Think about it. If you want to talk about racism, this is a good aspect of thing to think about. Okay, America, despite the arguments in history, despite any arguments, America is the melting pot of all nationalities. So all the argument and like my joke about being German and Irish, for instance. I'm German and Irish, so when I drink, I beat myself up. It was common understanding, that alcohol and Germans and Irish guys back in the day in Europe, you put some alcohol in between them, and there was going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight anyway. They don't call them the Fighting Irish for nothing. So anyway, you got a whole nation full of people that are all, slowly drifting away into a new existence under a new civilization created in America, and all those things kind of trailing in the dust and dragging along for a while. There's still, everybody makes Pollock jokes. Never considered how they got it here. Yeah. But everybody makes the jokes about the Pollock. How do you, why don't Pollocks drink Kool-Aid, for instance? Kids used to tell me on the school bus, because my mom said somewhere along the lines I'm supposed to be Polish. I doubt it. I'm going to do a genealogy test to find out. But anyway, Pollocks don't drink Kool-Aid because they can't put 2 quarts of water in that little packet. Yeah, that's the punchline. 14-year-old kids, it's funny. But the kids didn't just make it up, it's stuff that they heard their parents say, Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Zach never shuts up. Yeah. So, but my point is the conglomeration that owns the information hub, that's in charge of all of the regulating all of our TV broadcasting and news media outlets and all that, they have to answer to somebody. They can't just that's why everything has to go through the editor. She knows the rules, or he knows the rules of the paper to keep the paper from getting shut down or sued. So, the information is tailored to different regions of the country even. The information is tailored. It's managed and micromanaged and micromanaged and micromanaged. But it's all relative to the landfill, and it's all relative to our mind conditioning. I mean, and it's an answer, one of the reasons why a regular artist, a little guy, can't get his music on the air, because there has to be a corporate interest in your song. There has to be a way they can piggyback their product on your band, There's something they got. Tom McDonald, he's got his own agenda and a voice, He won't bow down to corporate demands, and so nobody will pick him up. They can't market a product with him because he's this tatted out, crazy white guy, but he's brilliant. Anyway, I run my mouth enough. Nobody gives a shit, Zach. That's why you should just go take a nice hot shower. Yeah, I'll probably go, actually, 10:03, go let the dog out to pee, and then pop in Pale Rider. Yeah, crawl into bed. Pale Rider. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Anyway, glad to see you guys. Hope everybody's doing good. Don't hesitate to get a hold of me if you got any issues, something you talk to somebody about. I'm always here for you. Peace, love, who's crazy enough to care about stuff that don't matter. Yeah, crazy old man Zach. Good night, guys. Happy Valentine's Day to you.